Hey everybody. 22nd of July, and I go camping. It's pretty fun. Went out with a friend. I had a friend who was like, let's go camping. And then we waited and found a time and finally went camping. I didn't do a ton of photography, so I took a couple of pictures, one of which was the chipmunk who kept coming to the campsite. It was a really good time. I didn't record a lot, but now I have a tent. I did buy a cheap little $30 tent that will last hopefully a few camping trips. I don't expect too much from it, but I'd rather have that than nothing. And I didn't want to sleep in the car, which, I pretty much my entire camping experience has been documented in one way or another. Uh, when I went up to Ward, Colorado, when I stayed in the RV, I made videos around all those because I was by myself. But since I went with a friend, I didn't have the time or bring anything to really do much. Besides, I took all my camera stuff so I could at least walk around and take pictures. And from the campsite, we had chipmunks, one of them in particular who kept coming up very close to check out everything that we were doing. I believe we named him Chippy. Uh, so that was a thing. It was a lot of fun. It was great. One example of how the entire thing, we were there less than 24 hours or around 24 hours. Got my tent set up, got the car unpacked, brought all my stuff, everything was there. I make up for what I have with lack of experience by having a lot of things that turned out to be super useful, like an electric generator, that battery bank that I bought, that big one, so I can run an electric cooktop is how we ate dinner because the gas stove that she brought did not work at first. She got it in the end, but it wasn't working at first. It started and fire went up and then it stopped and then it was a whole thing. But what do we keep saying? Between the two of us, we had one functional adult. She got more experience camping, but I had physical things that I bought to make up for that. But now I've camped. I feel slightly more confident. I still would rather go with someone else than go by myself, but I could probably camp by myself and be okay. It'd just be boring. Got all the stuff set up. We looked at the forecast and went, okay, we've got about an hour. That's enough time to get dinner cooked and everything before the rain starts because it was going to start raining. It rained much sooner than that, so about 20 minutes into it, which meant, oh no, cover everything up. We have everything spread out. We're trying to get the gas stove going. Here comes the rain. I got to cover at the very least like my electric cooktop and everything. And so just like suddenly changes all the plans. Move my tent so that we can take the flaps of our tents to like, we didn't actually wind up doing that, but the idea was to take the flaps of the tent to like attach them together to make a little alcove so we could cook underneath that and have a dry spot somewhere. We wound up cooking dinner at, like, finishing me cooking dinner at, like, I don't know, almost 10 o'clock, and then going to bed around midnight after getting everything cooked and, like, eaten. I don't think it was quite that late. I may be exaggerating slightly, but pretty close to it. So I didn't take too many photos of the night before. I did have a moment before we got to cooking dinner and everything where I went out and there was a raven. I have not taken many photos of ravens. I think I have seen them only a few times. Most of the time it's crows, but this was very clearly a raven. The beak is very large. Merlin was picking it up, and it was massive. It was much, much bigger. It was far off, but like at the top of this tree, just, making a storm. Not quite, but cawing regularly, and Merlin called a raven, and I looked at it and went, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a raven. I don't know entirely, but I'm pretty sure. So I got this silhouetted photo of one because the sun was behind. Still thought it was cool. The next day, we did have a bit of time. I was planning to get up and go out and meet up with the Wednesday group of birders that I'd like to go with, and I can never go because I'm working. That was the point of taking the vacation. Again, staying up so late and then camping and sleeping on the ground. One thing I did discover is I need something more than that tiny little pad I have. That was very uncomfortable to sleep. So I was not up and early enough or in a mood to go hike for a couple hours to go see birds with them. Did not wind up doing that. Did go for a short little walk around a corner where my friend had gone the day before and went, oh, it opens up. It's really beautiful. And it is. I went through there and took some photos, just kind of played around with different things. Landscape, looking at, here's more of the ground with the mountains in the background. Just gorgeous. Just absolutely really, really cool landscape out there. I forget what these trees are. Are they birch? But I thought it was cool the way they've only got, the way the bark is colored almost exactly, like almost a line through them. That's neat. Uh, And then this one reminded me on the drive up, I didn't take a video or anything. I have a different friend who I will go camping with at some point because we've talked about it. She's real experienced. So I wanted to do a little, this was like my little test with someone else so I can make sure I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit and I'm not a burden. I didn't want to be a burden to either of them. But the other one works with trees professionally and has been telling me about the problem that's currently going on because of climate change. There are these burrowing beetles I forget what they're actually called, but they're beetles that are in these trees that are killing these trees that typically in decades past would die out during the winter, but the winter is not getting cold enough. And boy, we did not get a lot of snow this last winter too. That's one thing I can immediately see. Anyway, I was driving up along this mountainy road, curves and everything, and it just turned and all the trees were orange like this one. This is my reminder to go talk to my friend and go, is this what it's going to look like? Because is that what they look like when the trees die here? Because a lot of that, like, this is going to be a big thing and it's going to change what the front range looks like from what I understand because all the trees are going to die. There's nothing we can do about it. There's far more beetles than like this is not the first person I've heard this from either. I've heard it from the guy who wrote the book who knows about the science of that stuff. I haven't looked into it any further. I should, but when I have, more or less first-hand information or first to second-hand information from a reliable source of someone that I can have a conversation with. It's interesting. So I want to talk to her about that and go, is this what they look like or is this due to something else? Because I don't know much about trees yet. But I did see some birds. I did take photos of birds. I'm going to run through them real quick. Hummingbird. The broad-tailed hummingbird. They were around the campsite. We kept hearing them, and I'd point them out whenever one would buzz by and go overhead. So I did wind up seeing them when I walked out on the trail and went a little bit and got some photos. This was the pre-capture on my new camera. Super happy about it. Allowed me to stand there going, come on, come on, come on, move, as it's very heavy. And I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting and like buffering and hoping. And then it took off and I managed to get this shot where its wings are spread out. And yeah, that was really neat. And then I could run through these here. It moved on a branch. I got to see it with its tongue out, stuck its tongue out at me. You don't get to see that super often, but it did that. And then it started preening and just kind of, cleaning itself. Here it is. That's actually its foot is up. It's scratching itself as its eyes closed and it's looking up. I thought that was cool. I pulled back a little bit on the branch so that I could get more of the color in there, and we actually managed to get a little bit more on the throat, which is really cool. And the last one is where I was just like, well, this is great. I gave up. It stayed there on that branch. It was there for, I think I looked at my watch and it was like 5 full minutes of me just holding the camera. My arms got tired and I was not physically up for it considering the night and the day that I had had. But the final shot that I got before I went, okay, I give up. You sit there, was as it was preening itself and its cheeks kind of, the throat is really there. I thought that was cool. So more of a camping trip than a bird with all the photos, bird trip for everything. But hey, I'll take what I got. I was super happy. And I had a really good fun time. And I can't wait to do it again. Yeah. Bye, buddy.